Hello, everyone. Come on in. I'd love for you to drop in the chat and let us know where you are joining us from. I know that we probably have people from all over the place. So if you can drop in the chat and just let me know, where are you calling in from? Where are you zooming in from? Where are you doing this from? I'd love to know. I know that we have some people that were going to join us from Florida. That's where I grew up. Cocoa Beach in the house. Whoop, whoop. Yeah. While you're at it, I'd love for you to drop your major in the chat. I'd like to see who's here. If you're a future SCAD student, tell us what majors you're considering. I know that we at least have a few industrial designers in here. Any service designers, throw that in the chat too. What about user experience? Now, I know some of you just attended the recent CES conference. What was your favorite product or experience from the show? Drop that in the chat too. Personally, I can't wait for Samsung to release the Frame TV. I want a TV that looks like a painting on my wall. I'm also going to need one of those touchless doorbells as soon as possible. I have a thing with germs. Ooh, right? Yeah, no, 2020 has been hard on me. All right, so wherever you're from, whatever your major, whatever your favorite product is, welcome to everyone.
Welcome everyone, everyone welcome. Thank you for joining us for Elevating the Innovative Mind. My name is Veg Neal, and I'm a SCADamp visualization coach based here in Atlanta. As a visualization coach, I help SCAD students create high-impact visuals across a wide range of media. My background in exhibit display and art and design has provided me with opportunities to collaborate with innovative companies such as Porsche, Adidas, and Samsung. I draw on my industry experience in every workshop and coaching session. In the next half hour, we're going to explore the connections between innovation and improvisation. But we're SCADamp coaches, and that means it's never just a conversation. We're all about active learning and engaged coaching. So we invite you to lead with yes and participate with us today. Our goal is to prove to you, our goal is to provide you with a few concrete strategies you can practice now and help amplify your story and elevate your innovative mind.
Thanks, Beck. I am all about leading with yes. I'm Nona Lee Davis, and I'm a SCADamp communication coach. I help students discover their awesome through the power of presence and public speaking. My background is, well, it's a little bizarre. I was a professional stunt woman, and eventually I worked my way behind the camera to become a media trainer and an image consultant for professional athletes. I've worked with the NFL, the NBA, the MLB, US Olympians, Disney on Ice, Monster Jam, and even Supercross. And I came to SCAD 2 years ago to coach artists and designers in being able to tell their story in an authentic way. SCADamp does just that. SCADamp is a professional presentation studio that prepares creatives to amplify their stories through verbal, visual, and interpersonal communication. Our work prepares SCAD students to speak, visualize, and connect, and to bring these skills into their professional careers, where they shine as leaders and change makers. We accomplish this through workshops, individual coaching, our online learning community, and plenty of classroom workshops.
Plenty.
Trust me, we do a lot of those. Our workshops are carefully curated to offer an active and engaging out-of-class learning experience. And students can earn a SCADamp certificate if they complete all 18 workshops and their time at SCAD. I know you must be thinking, what does a professional presentation studio have to do with innovation and improvisation? That's actually a great question. Companies, corporations, brands, organizations of all kinds are seeking to find a magic ingredient, innovation. And where do most successful teams find it? In their people. Like me, I'm actually pretty magical. Each member of our team brings their own ideas, perspectives, and creativity to collaboration. In the ideas and experiences of its people, a company can find ways to innovate. When people consider and support each other's ideas, when they can effectively improvise together, innovation gets supercharged.
Ooh, supercharges. I love that word. It's a hot word. At SCADamp, we invite students into a positive learning environment where they learn to communicate, collaborate, and build the skills necessary to share their own ideas and support their colleagues. I'm gonna take you back. I remember before I attended SCAD, everyone, including my family and close friends, recognized that I viewed the world differently. I could spend an entire day in my room, keeping myself entertained by building my own action figures, drawing from life, getting lost into fantasy books. And I'm not afraid to admit, I was into Goosebump books. What I had was creativity. And as I started my creative career at SCAD, it all began to come together. SCAD elevated my innovative mind from the illustration faculty who challenged me to push the boundaries of my art to the university events that showed me the real value of collaboration. I discovered that I was not alone. I was surrounded by brilliant, like-minded artists who helped prepare me to venture out into the world as a stronger creative. Even during the recession, 2008, those events, those people, those experiences all prepared me to show off my most important skill, the ability to share and communicate ideas to new clients. This is the magic of SCADamp. It is where talented creatives become skilled storytellers. To have the ability to share and communicate ideas to the world is a superpower. Our three pillars provide students with a framework to help them process what makes sense to them as designers and artists, and to understand how to share those ideas, to speak, to visualize, and to connect.
One way we coach SCAD students to share their ideas is through improv. Now, when many of us hear the word improv, we hear it as a noun. We think of a performance where cleverness and willingness to take risk is rewarded with laughs from a comedy stage or a TV show. We may even imagine musicians daring enough to play by instinct alone, exploring sounds and patterns together, trusting that their composition will be revealed to them as they play. The secret to these amazing performances is revealed in the verb to improvise. These skills these artists use when improvising together determine how they approach the unknown, calculate risk, and work together towards a common goal.
SCADamp uses improv training to provide students with practical tools which help them specify their ideas and effectively share them with others. When we improvise, we are positive, adaptive, and present. This boosts our communication, it enhances our collaboration, and helps people be more innovative.
Approaching challenges and collaborations with a positive attitude and an open mind is the secret to successful improv. The most famous rule of improv is yes and.
Yes, and
And if you know anything about improv, that's probably it. And for good reason. Yes and is all about leading with positivity and supporting your partner's ideas. When we respond with yes, we create an environment where all individuals are seen and heard, and where every idea is given a chance to succeed. This simple tool can completely change the collaborative process and jumpstart innovation. Just imagine how many brilliant ideas have been met with no and never considered simply because they're out of the box.
that reminds me of the revision process for designing.
Hmm.
There will be times when you have a great idea, I mean, amazing, that didn't make it to the final stages of development. It's your confidence and positivity that will keep you going and motivated to work well with the team and the client, even if they didn't select your concept.
Adapting to change is essential for effective collaboration. Dealing with unexpected and surprising shifts in a project, a process, or expectations from a client requires flexibility, resiliency, and trust. Learning to adapt to bend without breaking prepares SCAD students for a dynamic environment that they'll encounter in their creative careers. Learning to work in new ways with new people ensures that they'll be rock stars in their chosen field. The most thrilling and often most intimidating element of improv is that it requires a thought and action in the moment. Being present means being prepared and focused. When we're prepared and focused on the current moment, we have the confidence to handle whatever comes our way. In a pitch, a presentation, a speech, a job interview, being present is key to seizing the moment and making the most of every opportunity.
Seizing the moment and making the most of every opportunity, that basically that can describe my first solo art exhibition. My goal was to display all my art in a way that emphasized vulnerability and lighting. I had a ton of big ideas, maybe too many ideas. It felt like it was a circus. I had to get focused and be present in the moment. I began to adapt my initial ideas in different ways. And as I started putting the show together, I realized that that circus needed to become a lounge. I needed to adapt and curate my ideas. When we are positive, adaptive, and present, each peak performance moment, like my first solo exhibition, is an opportunity to shine.
Hmm. In our SCADamp 210 workshop, Create a Practice Routine, we work on developing skills to help you focus your thoughts and prepare you to be present in a high performance moment. We focus on these three areas: your brain, your body, and your breath. Keep in mind, this is not a one size fits all approach. Everyone has their own authentic way of finding the mojo. When we work with students, our goal is to help them develop their own individual routine. So today, it's your turn. I'm going to lead you through a few of our favorite exercises right now. So say yes and we're going to start with your brain. 30 minutes before you're about to step into the scary unknown interview or any high stress situation, put on a happy playlist. That's right. Music is an amazing way to wake up your brain with positivity. Hey, Vec, what music do you include in your practice routine?
Smooth jazz.
Of course you do, says the guy who reads Goosebump books.
Yeah,
All right. All right. So next, we're going to put together a power statement. All right. This is designed to help you focus on the task ahead of you. According to the American Psychological Association, the simple act of taking a positive affirmation, such as, I am awesome, and adding your name to it, Nona Lee is awesome, can have a powerful effect on how you perceive yourself. For example, before I locked on to this event, I said out loud, Nona Lee, you are a rock star. Well, I'm a Beyonce fan, so I try to, channel Sasha Fierce from time to time. So we are going to help you do the same. Right now, I want you to try putting your power statement together to warm up your brain. Take a moment to come up with yours, and then you're going to share it in that chat. All right, let's see what we got. Any power statements coming through? There was one earlier that I saw. Allie is a goddess. Yes, that's a great one. The decision to be confident. It's a choice. Clearly, Allie is a confident goddess, right? She literally made the choice to be confident. When you start spiraling into self-doubt, you can force yourself to write down 3 things you've done really, really well. In fact, I'd like for you to try that now. I want you to write down 3 things that you do well. Take a minute with this. These are things that you should be super proud of. Once you've written these down, I want you to keep them and post them somewhere in your workspace. This is going to remind you of you're awesome. Think of the amazing things you've done in your past. Hey, Vec, what do you do to prime your brain?
Before I present, I like to take a moment to flip through all my work, not to look for mistakes, but to be appreciative and place my focus on how far I've come in terms of communicating my ideas and having that opportunity. I focus on the positive.
Oh, that's good. Well, your body is a great mirror for how your mind is feeling. Our body language translates our internal thoughts. So if your body is tense and anxious, there's a good chance that's because how you're feeling. So let's focus on the body now. By standing or sitting in a power pose for 2 minutes, it's been proven to lower your cortisol levels. That's your stress hormone. You're probably wondering, what's a power pose? All right, so let's try that now. Everyone sit up straight, or if you're able, please stand. Your head, neck, and chest are up. Your hands are on your hips or by your side. I want you to think of your favorite superhero pose and try that. In fact, why don't you just add your favorite superhero into the chat? Here's some of mine: Wonder Woman, Captain Marvel, Black Widow, Black Panther. They all have killer power poses. I know you've got some favorites out there too. Now that you have your superhero in mind, right? Head, neck, and chest are up. Just imagine saying that power phrase while standing like Wonder Woman or your superhero of choice. Nona Lee is a rock star. Side note, I also like to add my own theme song, but that's a whole nother workshop. All right, now we're gonna switch to our breath. Finding your diaphragm, which is located right above your belly button. All right, there's a quick anatomy lesson. The diaphragm is the thin muscle that right here separates your abdomen from your chest. It helps you move air in and out of your lungs. Any singers like Sasha Ferris out there, you know what I'm talking about. All right, so everyone find your belly button, place your hands directly above it. This time I want you to try inhaling, filling that belly with air. Yeah, try not to use your shoulders, right? So it's all the belly. Now, we're gonna try to add a little extra technique that I've learned working with sports psychologists. This time I want you to do it, but thinking of the color blue as you inhale through your nose, and think of the color red as you exhale through your mouth. Let's try that now. We're gonna slow it down to a 5 count. So you're gonna think of blue going in through your nose, red through your mouth. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I think I needed that. Perfect. Just think, right now, you're practicing the same techniques that the elite NFL and Supercross athletes use before they compete. You just created your own small pre-routine: brain, body, breath. This can help you prepare to walk you into that high performance moment with confidence.
Whoa, this is amazing to think about. So basically, I'm like a pro athlete now, right?
No, not even kind of, but I like that positive energy. It's okay. So Beck, now that our audience members have their practice routine, I think it's a good moment to outline how these skills are actually put into the practice design world. Being positive, adaptive, and present, man, that sounds really good. But how does it work?
I'm glad you asked. Connecting these improv skills to the design process means we need to understand a little bit about what designers are doing and how they work. The design process, generally speaking, consists of 3 phases: inspiration, ideation, and implementation. Inspiration is likely familiar to all you artists and designers already. It's what sparks the idea and motivates the entire design. And let's see, think of ideation as a testing phase. This is all about process. You're testing what works and what doesn't. You're finding your direction and your ideas are beginning to take shape. You're sketching, you're creating mock-ups, you're beginning to visualize your idea in a more applicable way. Implementation is when you start making the big decisions and putting the ideas into practice. You're making sure you meet the immediate needs of the project at hand. Each 3 requires the design team to ask questions, make choices, and explore options. At any point, the enemy of this process is inertia, getting stuck and staying there like a rock at the bottom of a sea.
Wah, wah. Yeah. All right. Well, it's easy to see how our first improv skill, positivity, can be a huge boost during each phase of this process. In the inspiration phase, the designers are dealing with source material. Whether that's an idea born of their own imagination or from a client or a problem they need to solve, approaching this beginning phase with a positive mindset and curiosity is a game changer. Here's an example of how that might work. A design team is tasked with redesigning an existing product to meet a new challenge. Like the example of the touch free doorbell. Ew, gross germs, right? This challenge can be met with two different attitudes. One is negative. This wouldn't be necessary if there weren't a pandemic, and now having to rework a perfectly good product is a burden. The other, the positive approach, would be to see the challenge as an opportunity to innovate, to experiment, to discover a new way of doing something. This is simple adjustment in how to approach the opportunity can have a massive impact on how the rest of the process goes. If the opportunity is met with, ah, cool, rather than seriously, it sets us up to dive in and get to work rather than to resist and avoid.
The ideation phase, the part of the process where possibilities are explored, where variations of a concept are examined, and where ideas are tested, it's full of trial and error, and usually a fair number of failure. Remaining optimistic when faced with dead ends, failures, and disappointment is the application of positivity. This also means supporting your team. When confusion threatens to halt the process or they get discouraged, being adaptive and positive means trusting that wherever the team is going, you're going together. And those positive vibes will follow. By everyone moving like water, it saves time, it saves money, and it helps keeps the team and the work from stalling out. Any designer will tell you is just when you think you're lost, that aha moment occurs. The faith to keep working, to keep generating new ideas, to keep saying yes to each other. That is what keeps the momentum going.
The aha, right? Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
implementation phase. Yeah. When we start putting our ideas and imagination into action, it's also full of challenges, maybe limitations or restrictions that you didn't even notice or even know about before start showing up. Maybe those limitations are materials, maybe it's budget, or maybe your timeline just got a whole lot shorter. When a design team is deep in the process, they're often committed to a vision or an idea. Complications then become setbacks that derail the project. This is where being adaptive comes into play. One way we coach being adaptive is thinking about separating the facts from the story we're telling ourselves. In other words, the power of choice. So once we've had our emotional reaction to the situation, uh, you need this done by when? You're making me do what? All right, that's the emotional reaction. We now have a choice to decide how long do you want to feel like this? 2 minutes, 2 hours, 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months. You get the idea. All right, so this is the time to separate the facts of the task we were just asked. Here are the facts. Our timeline was shortened. We need to adjust the shape of that doorbell. The software of the doorbell needs to be more sensitive to movement, etc. Versus the story we tell ourselves. My boss hates me, and she's always making me collaborate with this designer on purpose and now shortened our deadline is absolutely going to make us fail. Well, that's the story we tell ourselves, and it prevents us from moving forward. If resistance and risk aversion are present, rather than open and flexible minds, ideas often gravitate towards the status quo instead of elevating to the outer limits. In the ideation phase, it's all about pushing the boundaries of what is doable, of daring to be imaginative, and considering how to make the impossible possible.
Possible, yeah. It's a superpower.
Mhm.
The power of being adaptive doesn't stop there. Working with feedback, critique, and revision is so much easier if the designer is adaptive. You have to be ready to consider different perspectives, other options, and move quickly to explore them. As implementation ends and presents its own unique challenges, being adaptive is vital to navigating unexpected bumps in the road. And I'll tell you from experience that being adaptive is absolutely crucial to dealing with the pressures of delivering the final product.
Yeah, and let's not forget about the power of being present, prepared, focused in each moment, right from the beginning. Inspiration is at its most useful when we can receive it with all of our senses and be open to what it has to offer. What moves us? What sparks our interests? Simply, what do we like about this? If we can be present for the early moments during the design process, that energy, that excitement, it's fuel for what the work is that's lying ahead of us.
Worrying about the outcome when you're still in the inspiration phase is a common mistake.
Mhm.
I'm pausing on purpose because I'm remembering what one of my friends said. Negative expectations is premeditated failure. How we begin is just as important as how we finish. Every moment is connected. And if we're present, we're able to extract value from each of these moments.
Hmm. That's good, dude. It can be particularly challenging to remain present as a project heads towards a checkpoint of that deadline. The pressure to deliver, to meet our external goals, to stay under budget, to stay on time, to please a client or impress that boss, all of these pressures can pop up around an opportunity. Developing the presence of the mind to recognize when we or one of our teammates are getting distracted or burned out allows us to refocus at the task at hand and bring our full selves to what needs to be done right now. One way to define innovation is doing something in a better, faster, or more unique way than it's ever been done before. The three qualities we train and practice when we improvise: positivity, adaptivity, and presence all catalyze design. Just like a superhero's origin story, these skills inject the design process like an elixir, boosting it with super strength, lightning speed, and agility, taking designers and their work to new heights.
In the spirit of SCADamp workshops, let's take a minute to review. We've established that the same principles that guide success, improvisation, the verb, not the noun, are the same principles that guide successful innovation, also the verb, not the noun. We emphasize three key elements of improv: being positive, adaptive, and fully present. And we discuss how these elements are also the active ingredients in the design process. And of course, we brought it all together to show a few techniques to help you build your very own practice routine. My coaching advice to you is to start working these strategies into your routine and begin building those habits now, because powerful changes and big innovations are made one step or one peak performance moment at a time.
Yeah. And at SCAD, we're educating the next generation of leaders in the disciplines we teach. SCADamp is dedicated to helping these leaders share their stories and their work with the widest possible range of audiences across the world. When we train designers and artists to be versatile collaborators and skilled improvisers, we're sending innovators into the world where they will be positive, adaptive, and present throughout their entire creative careers.
Thank you so much for saying yes and for exploring with us the connections between improvisation and innovation. For all the students and future students here today, we're looking forward to seeing you in more of our SCAD workshops soon.
Bunch of rock stars, right? Enjoy the rest of your day and remember, crush it. Bye,
Thank you.
everybody.